God.
So welcome back, everyone, to the Best Friend Files. Today we have some juicy Hollywood-esque gossip going on here. There's lawsuits, there's domestic violence, there's a slew of things happening here. And today we're going to unpack the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni lawsuit exchange. What did I do?
Get a best friend, they said. FaceTimer.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck just
Rude.
happened. Okay.
Okay, so what I heard is that basically this Justin character was like showing Blake naked women and like naked videos when they were filming It Ends With Us. Is that what it's called? And was like made some comment about her weight because of their sex scene and like lifting her up, which, okay. And then was asking or was telling her that like he used to be addicted to pornography, which like he's also married. So no, you absolutely shouldn't be saying that. If you're single and Blake's married, you're a creep. But if you're married, then that's like 4 times as creepy. What the fuck is wrong with you? And so there's like all this skepticism that Justin is doing this smear campaign, which is why the slightly notable behavior, which I'm going to be honest, it sounds like digging, of Blake, like getting married at an old plantation a decade ago. And Blake, like, I don't know, being mean, quote, mean in interviews. I watched every little thing that she's done. And basically, like, when she's uncomfortable, she tries to make a joke and they don't always land. And she can come across like a little bit abrasive because the joke didn't land. But again, it's nothing I didn't do on Christmas Day with my family members in the house because I was just like, maybe this will be funny. And people were like, why are you being so mean, Jen? And I was like, oh, oops. So that didn't happen. But my point is that I also say things that I don't even, like, we all find out together what I'm going to say. I'm finding out with you. I don't know what I'm about to what's coming out of my mouth. I just start a sentence and then we just see where it goes. So I don't get it. I don't know what is so wrong with this chick. I really don't. So yeah. And then just in the Reddit threads, there was a lot of the sentiment that women who are alleged victims of whatever sexual harassment, I guess is really the largest claim here.
Okay.
So yeah, I just felt like, I don't know why we care so much about Blake, and this Justin dude just sounds like a real creep.
See,
and I feel bad for his wife.
I honestly have a completely different take on this. And I think that it started because I became aware of this actually about 3 months ago. Big fan of the comment section. Brett Cooper did kind of like a little report on this. Like as It Ends With Us came out in theaters. So I think it came out like in August. And she did this little ditty on it. And I was like, like I never would want to go see this movie. Don't really care much for either of these actors. Like obviously I know who Blake Lively is because she's more famous than Justin Baldoni in my world.
It's because she's married to Ryan Reynolds, in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. So let me make sure I don't have any fuzz. So anyway, so Brett Cooper was doing this thing on the comment section, and I just like watched it and I'm like, okay, like whatever. I just kind of like filed it away, and it was what you had mentioned. It was a couple of like her mean interviews, but what stood out to me, I remember when I had first seen it, was how compassionate he was. And I actually had to go back and find it.
Who? Justin?
Yes. So when they show him doing PR for the movie, he is taking it very seriously. He's like, every interview that I saw of him, he's like very like like solemn almost, like, and he's like, this is a movie that is about domestic violence, like technically, like he's aware he's the villain in the story. He just seems to take it extremely serious, and like everything that I saw, he was talking about how he even had handed over control to Blake in numerous parts of the movie. Like I guess he and again, this is months ago now. This is when the movie is coming out. This is before like any of these lawsuits had happened. So I just remember that kind of being like, I'm like, wait, I need to go back once I saw this like popping up, and I'm like, wait, this movie came out forever ago. Like that's forever, like 3 months obviously, but like this movie came out forever ago, and I'm just like, how is this now like a lawsuit thing? Like what's going on? So when I went back to look at the stuff, and it was all the things that they had showed of Blake before. But then I found tons of videos, and like one, for instance, is they're both standing there, they're clearly filming the movie, and I actually have it, so I'll post it here and I can send it to you. But they literally like grasp, like they're standing there, and Blake Lively, you can tell she is literally directing him and telling him how to put his hand behind her, and she does it to him. She puts her hand behind his back and pulls him in. So like, did you see this video by any chance? So like their groins are touching. It's that type of embrace, you know what I mean? Okay. So it's like I saw that, and I'm like, and then like there's another video where they show them like hugging each other, and like she like runs up and like bounds across the street and like jumps on him and like hugs him and whatever. And then I also remembered that I saw something about how Ryan Reynolds was a producer in the movie. So Justin Baldoni is the one who first purchased the rights to this book to make it a movie like 10 years ago. Like when the book first came out, was New York Times bestseller. He was like, I'm going to want to make a movie about this someday. So he's had the rights. And
he's a producer, right? Did he produce this movie or help produce it?
He produced it, but also Blake Lively produced it. And Ryan Reynolds Ryan Reynolds rewrote multiple scenes in the movie. So the reason that I bring that up,
sex scenes?
I don't know if it was sex scenes. No one has alluded to that they were sex scenes, but that there were multiple scenes. So to me, it's not adding up that Blake, to her own admission, has said in interviews that she was the intimacy coordinator on some of these intimate things. Justin Baldoni, at the time of the press junkets and stuff, is saying that he took a step back in these scenes because he wanted them to be a female POV, and he didn't want like his male gaze to like bias anything. So I'm like, everyone seems to be on agreement here that he took a step back in directing these scenes. And then you have that visual footage of her grabbing him and forcefully doing that. So I'm like, this all doesn't add up to the picture that Blake is now trying to paint.
She said that during their kissing scenes, he like made her uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like they were supposed to just be like movie kissing, and my assumption is he like took it farther than that. So you're saying you think she sort of instigated or enabled the creative raunchiness.
I'm not saying that she instigated it, but the video where they embrace each other, where she embraces him, is to me extremely telling, just because I'm like, this completely contradicts the environment that you're claiming was on set. Because you know what I mean? Like, it's just, if you're saying that he made you feel so uncomfortable, and that because she literally, her lawsuit is literally for sexual harassment. So she's saying that this man sexually harassed her, but she is on the set of this movie, but her husband was present there all the time and was helping direct it. She herself is a director. She's the person who supposedly was in charge of these intimate scenes. I just personally am not buying. I don't know. I think that they had an artistic disagreement, and I feel like...
And she took it all the way to that?
I feel like that's what...
Did you hear about the meeting? Where like... Did you hear about the meeting? Like, they had an all-hands meeting. Ryan was there. She was there. Justin was there. Other movie people were there. And they went through, like, an itemized list of things that, like, everyone agreed wouldn't be discussed, including, like, pornography addictions, her late father, her weight, like, all of that stuff. And then he, like, he agreed, but then he didn't actually do those things. And...
No, I didn't see that anywhere.
Yeah, that's, I guess, what her PR team is saying. Also, his PR team is the same PR team that Johnny Depp had.
Yes. Well,
which I find interesting.
It's the same team, but he had a separate agent who actually left that team and was employed by him. That's like a whole nother like controversy.
I just feel like even if she is being like, kiss me like this, like we should be close, I don't think her having like the confidence to like be sexually open and creative about the movie means that she didn't feel like his behavior was inappropriate, because she's clearly like a boss or like an aggressive personality. Like just from the interviews, she's not afraid to like rock the boat, kind of push back, challenge certain things, defend herself or others. So I think that like that is still her personality, but then she also could still be like, stop showing me porn on your phone. Like enough. And he's like, ooh, intimacy director. Don't you want to see it? So like, I don't know.
Well, but that's the thing too, is like what type of pornography,
what is she getting out of that?
Like to me, like what type of pornography are we like talking about? You know what I mean? Like, is it just like, I think that the scene should look like this? Like what, like I need more definitions in terms of what that is, because if people are trying to make an intimate movie, these subjects have to be discussed.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
I mean, do you need to whip out a YouPorn video?
I mean,
and
that's
be
why
like,
I need to know,
hey,
what are we classifying as porn in this situation? Because essentially it could just be
recorded sex. Isn't that what porn is? Sex on camera.
But there's a large range of what can be considered a pornographic image, even if it's the implication.
True.
So I am by no
could
means,
be like some softcore, tastefully done.
Could be like some romantic Skinamax meets Hallmark shit. No, but like I don't want to sound like I am defending him, but
you do, and everyone is angry.
That's fine. Here's the other thing too, to me, that I just keeps me guessing on what actually happened here is his wife apparently, after the lawsuit dropped, posted like this just a video like all about like how their relationship has been since she met him, how he like she told the story of how he like proposed to her, and like she paints a very emotionally stable individual. And I guess for me it's just like, when I look at the way that these people come off, I find it hard to believe that the atmosphere that she is alleging happened in her lawsuit. What I think happened is, I think that towards the end of the movie they had a creative difference, because they're both producers. They're both not only producers, but they're both the starring roles. Like, this just sounds like,
this is a
wild.
Bad Stop idea. Making everyone a producer.
This is just like
sucks.
A bad idea from the beginning. You know what I mean? And I think that I feel like 3/4 of the way through they had, and they have, like I said, Justin has admitted that Blake was a lot more involved in everything, the whole movie, than people were giving her credit for back when
because
it first
of Ryan,
came out.
do you think?
Potentially. Maybe, because why is this guy coming in and writing scenes? Obviously, obviously him and Blake probably own like the production company together, so like technically he probably legally, whatever, 10, but I'm just saying, like, I think that they had a creative differences, and I think that because the internet is a thing now and everybody is up everyone's asses, I just feel like people picked up on the PR for the film, because I do think, like, when you see the PR just for this film, like, take away her Mean Girl things, all her other Mean Girl interview things, and like there's the one where they're talking about the video and she brings up her hair care product line very flippantly. Did you see that one?
No, I saw her spraying random people who looked like moviegoers. Maybe they were at like a pre-screening with what looked like dry shampoo.
Yeah. But so at like, it was like on like the red carpet for it, or like, the premiere, like she completely doesn't answer the person's question and redirects it to her new hair care line, like Blake Brown, that's coming out. And then there was like another one where they were doing like a press junket, and the guy asks her, and I'll put that up there, the man basically says like, this is a really deep topic and people want to, I'm sure your fans and people that resonate with this.
Oh yeah, they want to reach you.
And honestly, I don't care who you are. Like, the way she responded in that given moment, if that is the emotional capacity that she has, then I don't fucking believe a word that she says. Like, if that, other than them being like, she hasn't slept in 72 hours, she's on like 10 things a NyQuil, she's not herself. Other than that, you are a freaking psycho.
No, she was herself. I saw that. But also, okay, so do you know, the producers of the film said, like, don't talk about the domestic violence part. We want to keep it light. We want it to, like, be pitched as a rom-com.
No, who said that?
Don't bring it up.
They're the producers.
Hang on.
Like, he is the producer. He's the one that acquired the rights.
No, it was like a whole thing. So she's saying, like, the way he was like, oh, I'm being so sensitive about it is like, no one was supposed to talk about it. And so he tried to make her look bad by being like, oh, I'm going to be sensitive about it, when she's like, we're not even supposed to be talking about it. I don't know. Hang on.
They are the producers, though.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And obviously, this dude was like so moved by it that he purchased the rights to make the movie 10 years ago.
Obi West, a spoken word artist and domestic abuse advocate, said that the movie It Ends With Us could be triggering for abuse victims and that the film's framing as a love story could be damaging. West said the film's trailers do not include trigger warnings and that this could normalize abuse. Okay, no, that's not the answer. Hang on.
Which, that was just a strange critique, because a lot of people said that a lot of the reviews were initially that people did not know what to expect. They thought it was going to be a love story.
Yeah, that's why. Because they all pitched it, which is so weird. Like, why would you do that?
And that was a huge thing that they were saying, too, was that Blake and Justin both had very differing views, people who were, like, on the set, and that Blake's version won out.
This is a Fox News article from December 21st, written by Christina Duggan Ramirez. And it says, Miss Lively was forced to address concerns about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's misconduct with them directly and began doing so months before filming. The concerns she raised were not only for herself, but for the other female cast and crew, some of whom had also spoken up. According to the document, some of the demands addressed included no more showing nude videos or images of women to Blake, no more mention of Baldoni's or Heath's previous pornography addiction, no more discussions about personal experiences with sex, no more descriptions of their own genitalia, no more adding sex scenes outside of what was in the original script, which is interesting because you said Ryan changed some stuff. No more discussions about Blake's weight or deceased father, and more. At the time, all parties agreed the outlined conduct would cease. Despite the agreement, Lively claims in the complaint that Baldoni executed and participated in a, quote, social manipulation campaign to, quote, destroy her career and reputation. So this is from Thick Status 6030 on Reddit. Then they said she also went for a more lighthearted angle when promoting the movie. So I don't know, I don't know whose idea this was, which is about domestic violence. Baldoni, on the other hand, was applauded for focusing on the domestic violence part and, quote, empowering women. People suspected something up because most of the cast no longer followed him on socials, and he was doing the press for the movie separate from
And that's what I mean. So that was my point, was that I think people picked up on the fact that he was doing the press separate, and then the internet's going to go find its own receipts. So, like, I think it was a creative dispute. I don't understand how before even filming they came up with, like, all those demands. That's, like, weird.
Right. Right. It sounds like they were talking about, like, creative direction.
I also feel like they're not directly...
And to your point...
I don't know if any of that said that it was directly, like, yes, there were a couple that seemed to apply directly to Justin, but it was like no more talking to Blake about XYZ. So, like, I don't know exactly who they're accusing of doing that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it very well could have been Justin.
And then...
I also think the timing of the lawsuit is very interesting because it's like she's a producer of the film. So obviously she's not going to say anything about it while it's in theaters, but it's like almost as soon as it's in streaming, now it's like fair game and she's gonna go after him. And I'm just, I don't know. Something smells fishy to me and I can't figure out what it is.
So Heath, who's also named in the complaint,
That's the
is the
owner,
CEO of Wayfarer Studios.
Which is, that's Justin and him own Wayfarer Studios. And they produced the movie.
They're close friends. Baldoni referred to him as his best friend. I don't know. What would be the point of her making that up?
I don't know what the
like,
point
what
of making a movie that is about a book that is about domestic violence and then not promoting it for what it is.
Oh, so back to her statement where they were like, you know, obviously a lot of people are going to want to go somewhere to like talk about this and like, how can they reach you? And she's like, my email, my phone number. Like, to me, I didn't understand the question that he was asking. Obviously, like, I just started reading up on it today. So the domestic violence part was like kind of, you know, mixed in, like peppered into what I was reading. But because he didn't specifically say that, I was like, okay, he phrased it as, how do people reach you? Which, like, nobody should be reaching out to the talent who's depicting a character in a movie if they've had domestic violence. So I feel like if he would have said, what sort of resources can people reach out to if they feel triggered or like want to get, you know, help with domestic issues, then it could have prompted her to say, oh yeah, like I'll get those for you
I feel
or
like
something.
if you go into this as the producer and as the lead, like, I don't understand how, I guess, so if that's what we're chalking it up to, then she's just an idiot. Because I don't understand how, if this was about domestic violence, and if you're supposed to be a woman for women, and you're trying to empower them, and you're trying to empower them through this character, I mean, unless, why are you acting it? Why are you producing it? If you're not trying to bring the story to life and help affect
I think she is, but he said, how do people reach you? Like, if somebody asked how people can reach me.
Saying, so, like, I guess I'll have to go back and watch it again. But, like, I was just like, why
I
would
think
you
I really
that?
identify with Blake's complete misunderstanding of most things that people say. Like, I was just like, I would have said
like,
that.
It's
I mean, I wouldn't have said
you
it.
know, obviously, this is going to resonate with people. And, you know, that at least that's the one that I saw.
No, yeah, he said that, and I got that. I was like, okay, and I didn't.
Especially if they weren't going to address it, I just feel like then there should have been some type of media trained answer so that she wouldn't come off the way that she did, I guess. It's just, to me, and again, I'm not saying any of those old Mean Girl things, but when I watch the things that I've seen of her promoting the movie, I'm just like, what is she doing? Like, where is she? What is she actually doing? Why are we even
I gotta
here?
find out who said, like, don't talk about the domestic violence part, because that, to me, I was like, oh, well, that's why she didn't like get into it, because she wasn't supposed to. I don't know, I'm really like over the trigger warnings. Like, why do we have to tell somebody, hey, heads up, we're gonna talk, this is gonna be domestic violence, so if that is upsetting to you, don't watch this movie. I feel like most people are going to know the first time someone gets hit in the face, this contains domestic violence, and then can choose to leave. Like, when I was listening to the My Favorite Murder podcast the other day, they were like, and just a warning, this contains violence against children. And I'm like, the show is called My Favorite Murder, and you got to be like, heads up, there's murder. If this is about creative differences, what a waste of money. Did you hear? Okay, so this was one thing in like her little montage I watched of her being a bully, is what it's called. She is talking on The View about being in a choir in like high school, something. And she was like, oh yeah, well, my parents paid the head of the choir, so I was the lead and I did all the singing and dancing. And they were like, and you didn't know how to sing? And she's like, nope, but I was up there, blah, 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 blah. It definitely speaks to like, I mean, I can certainly understand how she might be a little disillusioned and not really get it. I feel like all this raining down of like, oh, Blake should own it and did it, and she's like all hypersensitive about it. It's like, she's a fucking actress. What are we asking of her? Like, do we think that this woman should have an Ivy League education and like sensitivity? No, I think we should interview them way less and put them on way shorter platforms. That's the answer. You don't need to say like, well, you asked for it. I don't think she asked for it. I don't think that she asked for us to all judge her as if she should have the eloquence of the royal family when it comes to interviewing. She does shitty interviews. She says dumb shit. You ever see Jim Carrey in an interview? He says some of the most outrageous shit you've ever heard in your life, and people are like, well, he's a visionary. But Blake is pretty and blonde and super Americanized, and so like she has to be nice, she has to be polite, she has to be super empathetic, she has to be super sensitive, and if she's not and she's like a bitch about it, then it's like, well, she shouldn't act anymore. And I just feel like we should just see her as an actress.
Like, I also feel like it's fine to just disagree with them and just be like, because I personally do think that she's a bitch. I don't think that from watching all those compilations, I'm like, I would not get along with this woman. And she honestly annoys the shit out of me.
No, I wouldn't want to hang out.
She's been so benign to me. I don't think I've ever watched a movie with her in it. I was so late to Gossip Girl. I was so late.
I've never seen Gossip Girl.
Literally watched it like 10 fucking years ago. I
never saw it.
Like 12 years after the shit even aired. I was like bored. It was
Is
like,
it good?
It just gives
Is it even good?
Like, relive like the high school bullshit for me. It was just like the high school Yeah, it was just.
So it's Dawson's Creek.
Right, I'm 17 again. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I ran out of things to watch on Netflix literally like 10 years ago, and I was like, well, I guess I'll try Gossip Girl, and I was just like, okay, like.
Sorry, Gossip Girl, you're an afterthought in Bridget's life, and.
I mean, I binged the shit out of it. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so it's good,
but yeah, it's like, you know, dramatic.
Okay.
That's the only thing that I ever saw with her in it, and and then when I watched those videos, I'm just like, well, no shit, people are talking like, and that's the thing to me, is it's like, well, no wonder someone finally put a compilation together of you being a dick, and now you're mad that you come off as a dick, and it's just kind of like, well,
yeah.
And that, like, I guess that's the part that gets me. It's the defamation part. So she, obviously, I do not know what happened in intimate moments between the two of them in close quarters. Don't know what happened.
She slammed her crotch on his thigh, according to you.
Yes. It's that, you know, it's the part where it's like, now all of a sudden after the movie's in theaters and all the promos done and everything, it's like, now she's like, well, he's trying to slander me and he's trying to ruin my reputation. And I feel like you could have just watched one of those compilations and people would feel like no one was swayed by this. They were swayed by watching 10 minutes of you being a dick. Like, that's all I'm saying. So it's just, I think
she's literally just like a spoiled, unaware chick who like doesn't take it that seriously, and everyone like wants her to, and she just like isn't. She said something about her and Ryan Reynolds.
But like, why do you think she should get a free pass?
Well, how's that a free pass? She's an actress.
No, it's not about being an actress, but I'm just saying, like, you would never let someone talk to you the way that she talks to some of those people at those interviewers.
Give me an example.
In real life. So why are you now being like, well, why do we expect more from her? Like, I expect more from everybody. Like, I'm never not going to be like, that was a dick move.
The only thing that like really would have offended me is if I was that interviewer where she's like, something, your bump, when Blake was like 8 months pregnant.
Oh, that was super
And she
rude.
was like, I like
thing.
your bump. And in my head, I'm like, oh, the interviewer is pregnant. But then I found out.
And do you know that woman has
infertility?
Has infertility problems.
And I was like, she didn't have a bump. I was like, what bump? What are we talking about? That was fucking rude. But then again.
Well, and especially because the premise of her question, which was like asking about the clothes that they were wearing, I feel like I remember like back at that time, and that was a big thing that like women were like, oh, we only ever get asked about our clothes. But that movie was like a timepiece. So they wore like, it was a movie that would be like, asking someone an avatar, like not asking them like
Special
what was
effects.
it like to be like hooked up to all the sensors and everything. Like it's like this is such a huge part of the movie. Obviously this woman's gonna ask you about the clothes.
I don't get it. And like the fact that she's going after this guy, I mean, I don't want to like victim blame, but I mean, I don't she doesn't sound like a victim or seem like one, like to your point. And if it's probably based on her personality from what I've seen in the short interview clips, which is obviously like a very concentrated and like singularly focused point of view. But if she is that type of person, then of course she's going to be like, Daddy, he said I'm mean. And then like, he's going to be like, I'll get you the best PR team, babe.
Yeah.
So it just like fits, I guess. But I don't know. I can't get on board with like, she needs to be the representative of domestic violence victims. Like she just wants to get paid for acting. Like she doesn't give a shit what the script is. She doesn't care. She probably doesn't even read. She threw it on audio and was like,
this is probably true.
What's my line? So yeah, underwhelming, unimpressed. I don't know. She's,
Right.
you know, whatever. I don't get why people are so obsessed with this chick.
I mean, that is a very interesting point of view. That is really, I feel like I've done some research on this and you're the first person to just be like,
Guys,
who fucking cares?
Who cares? Girls, also, who cares? Did anyone even see the movie? Is it even good? Probably sucks.
I think, well, it has to suck. There's no way it doesn't suck. If this is no one's talking about the actual movie.
This is the most I've heard the title. It ends with us. I'm like, what is it? It's a book, you say? Oh, Emily Baldoni is also in the movie. Stop. His fucking wife is in the movie?
He was sexually harassing Blake Lively while his wife was there.
And her husband? Guys, what the... She's in it? She plays Dr. Julie. Stop it. Did you see the proposal, by the way? Everyone's saying like, oh, I watched Justin Baldoni's proposal video again and it's so cringe and it's such like a narcissist move. I watched that proposal. It is...
I did not.
If you wouldn't be able to say no, even if you were married, if somebody proposed to you like that, you'd be like, yes, let me just make a phone call because I'm going to have to get a divorce. But it is so amazing. Like he produced it and he takes her to a restaurant, he puts this film on, and it's literally like a series of scenes that he set up. Like one is in a radio studio where he's going to do it on air, but the mic goes out and the guy's like, what's going on? He's like, well, it's all right. Like I'll make it work. And then, he tries like a few other things. And then he ends up doing like the, I want to marry you, Bruno Mars, like flash mob, like, cause that was big at the time. And then it cuts to him talking to his parents, like having an emotional heart-to-heart outside the restaurant where she's waiting for him, watching the film. And then in the film, it shows him walking into the restaurant and then he just walks in the door in real life and proposes. It's amazing. Like, it's amazing. She's crying. She's laughing. I don't know how that's narcissistic that you made a movie for your fiance. It sounds like an incredible amount of self-sacrifice. Do you know what it takes to make a movie? Like, it took us 2 months to even try video right now for a podcast. So I cannot imagine. Months and months and months.
It's insane.
Yes.
It's insane.
Takes, locations, cameras, scripts, lighting, outfit changes. I mean, it's crazy. So I don't get how that's narcissistic. You should watch the video. It's so good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Jenny Slate's in it?
I was like, maybe I should like watch this movie.
Jenny Slate is funny. She's funny. She was in something, but she's like a really like down to earth funny person. Oh, and she was in it. She was in whatever I saw her in with Hassan Minhaj. Oh, was it Parks and Rec? It might have been Parks and Recreation. There's a huge cast of this movie. Robin.
Well, I believe they. I think there's a lot of time jumping. They go back and forth between when she's young and old.
Who's
so
Robin Lively? Is she related to Blake? Is that her mom?
I have no idea.
She's 52. She kind of looks like Blake.
Sister.
They're sisters? Oh, yeah.
I mean, to your point, really, these
And
people
what is
just, you know, just out of touch. They're just out of touch.
This is all they've got.
They're out of touch with reality.
Out of touch.
And, you know, I guess we'll just have to keep tabs.
I'm excited about this counter
because that is really what we're all about
tabs.
here at the Best Friend Files. As much as we like the Hollywood gossip,
Yep.
we're here for the receipts, ladies and gentlemen.
We're here for the filing.